Hello, and welcome to this episode of The Inner Estate with your host, Bridget Stuart. Today, I have a very special guest, Melissa Barnes. She is a leadership and legacy mentor. And boy, Melissa, you're just changing lives every day. Thank you for being our guest.
Thank you so much, Bridget. It's an absolute pleasure being here with you today. And I truly can't wait to get started and have this conversation with you.
Well, it's going to be such a powerful conversation because one of your specialties is guiding people to be leaders that are living without regret, leaders that are building a legacy. You even say zero regret. Can you
Zero.
share with everyone, what does that mean? Share what that means to you.
So I think it would be fair, Bridget, if I start sort of with a little bit of a history on my career path,
I
which
would love
really
that.
leads right into this. And it really is why I'm here on this mission to change lives. I am from the death and grief care industry. For 25 years, I've been working with families at the end of life. I've had the honor of meeting individuals prior to their own death. And even in eulogies, we hear things, and the number one thing I hear from people who know that they are at the intimate death is they regret. They regret. And you know what they're regretting, Bridget, the most? Not doing,
Yes,
not being. And this is the true impactful work that I have pivoted to change, to empower the women that I work with to be the leader and to understand at the core truth of it all, we are building our legacy and what that actually means, Bridget. So I'm on fire with this topic. I'm a mother myself of three children. I'm married. I run two businesses, and it is so crucial for us to understand every moment of every day. You and I are building out our legacy, and
that's
and
right.
it's true. And I'm sure you see this too so often. We get stuck in the doing. We're in our role, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah, and we get busy and we get on autopilot and we become tired and everything systematically starts to happen where we become this disconnected human being, and it's not because we
Yes,
want to, right? And I'm sure you see that. We don't want
absolutely.
to. Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
why I'm here. And that's a bit of the backstory and what I have seen and the heartache that I know is true at the end of one's life, whether it's a long life or if it's a tragic short end, there's always this regret. And I believe so much that we can live and lead without any regretting.
well, I'm excited to hear about that. And before you share more about that, may I ask you a few questions about what you just shared?
100%. Please do.
Okay. So you mentioned that people can become unintentionally disconnected.
Yes.
So it's not that wasn't their plan. They didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to set a goal of being disconnected from my family and stuck on a hamster wheel of habit where I just do the same thing like a zombie every day. And I don't know
Mhm.
about you, but I feel that post COVID, so many families and sometimes even friends, they fell into this situation where there's a bunch of zombies on a hamster wheel, disconnected, living in the same house.
Yes.
And there's so much of this, and there's so much, clackety clackety, and there's not enough connection. So I too am very passionate about that. And I'm so glad that what we're going to talk about today is going to address that. Uh, Is there so I feel like anyone that's listening today, if you feel even slightly like you're in that rut, or as you described, doing the same thing every day and it's not meaningful and it's a hamster wheel, that I hope they'll stick with us and we're going to address that with them.
Yes.
But the other question I had is you said that the most common regret that people have are the things they didn't do, the actions they didn't take.
Yes.
the ways of being that they chose, whether they chose it with purpose and intentionality or they did not, which is the common default setting.
It is.
Could you share just slightly more about that as we get into now how to address, and how you can live with zero regret?
Hmm. And I think you've nailed it. And you mentioned the word habit, and I love that you did. And because it's not intentional. But when I hear about regret,
Right.
I hear, gosh, I wish I had a just gone and done that vacation with the kids when they were still little. I wish I
Mhm.
hadn't worried so much about spending the money or the stress or, you know, the fear of, losing things. And I wish I had have just done this instead. And, in those
Right.
moments, I'm not necessarily hearing about, massive moments that, have shaped one's life to be very negative. It's the little moments. Like I wish I had have learned to swim so I could have swam with my babies when they were little. Right? I
Yes.
wish I didn't work so many hours and worried less about the finances. And it is
Right.
in these moments, Bridget, that the light bulb goes off and you realize it truly is the little moments. And those are the moments, as you say, they're just getting washed away. You're not doing it on
Yes.
purpose. We don't.
Correct. It's one of my friends described it as you're on the hamster wheel, and hamster wheels typically have little bars with spaces, and every day those opportunities for moments are just falling through the spaces as you keep, hitting rung after rung. So I'd love for you to shift into what you are so great at, and that is leading people to
Mhm.
become their own leaders of a life with zero regret. So take us into the solution.
I would love to. And I come at this with the most compassion and love because, Bridget, I've been this woman myself. So I approach this
Mhm.
from a standpoint, and I hope this doesn't seem too strong, but it's almost like a zero tolerance. Here is what we really need to be looking for. I am a mirror, Bridget. I stand before my
Yes.
clients and I am a reflection of them. And I carry a great amount of compassion for especially women who are leading businesses and families. But the
Yes.
raw, honest truth is when we become aware again and we have a sounding board for someone to mirror back what it is that you feel is missing and where you really desire to be, we can start building out that pathway for you. And it starts by standing in front of the mirror and being raw, honest truth with yourself. What is tugging at the heartstrings? What is it that you truly deeply desire? And then we do a comparison to where we're at and what we really want. And what happens in that process is we may have grief, we might have trauma. We definitely have old stories or BS, as I like
Yes.
to call it. And
Yes.
the hardest work will be is being honest with yourself. And I can say that because I always say I walked in those high heel shoes.
Mhm.
It is hard to look at yourself and say, this needs to pivot and what can I do? And it really is a lot of repattering, believing new thoughts because what we believe in, what we think about is dictating what is happening in our outside circumstantial world. And so if we're thinking negatively on, dwelling what's missing, what I'm feeling, we are almost bringing that with us in every movement that we take. And there comes a fine line
Yes.
where someone says, that's enough. We can do better. Let's do better. How are we going to reset the identity? Who do you want to be? Set the alignment and truly start embodying this new version. And here's the catch. This is the biggest one, and you probably experience this too. When you start becoming, people will begin to follow you. And
Yes.
this is the beginning of that taking that leadership role, and you lead yourself first.
Well, part of the reason that I chuckled a little bit when you said, when you start changing, people will follow you. Absolutely. It is, in my opinion and my experience, one of the only ways to create change in any existing relationship is for you to lead yourself first and change yourself first, and that changes the dynamic.
Yes.
I would like to ask you, because I chuckled, sometimes when you start changing, the people that are oftentimes closest to you will create friction because you're stepping out of the day to day dynamic and the person they know, and you're shaking things up. Have you experienced that as well with your
Yes.
clients?
Yes. I have. But something to remember is that that is a fear based program as well. And even your partner, right? Your partner may start to feel like they're really changing. But I find with my clients as well, most of the time, it's a very short thing. And it is a fear based program that is operating in both of them. And the fear is,
Hmm.
well, we're going to grow apart and this is the end,
Yes.
right? When in fact,
Right.
very opposite will happen because the power of your change, it will just naturally flow into a change within them and within their
Yes.
relationship as well.
I've I bring it up because one of the things that I've seen happen, and I'm curious for your feedback on this,
Mhm.
is sometimes someone starts making the change, they're doing great, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 back, they're working on it, and it's fully internalized, and they're focusing on themselves, leading themselves first, and that very close person in their life starts to resist. That can turn into a point where they give up. And what I'm hearing you say is push through it. It is a short-term issue. Is that, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that what I'm hearing you say?
No, I would love you to put those words in my mouth, Bridget, because I think
Okay,
that's
good. Okay,
perfect.
good. Yeah.
I'll say this, and I don't have any fancy terminology. I'm just a woman speaking of my own experience. When you get to the point where you're going so hard and you're doing all the work, and you get to that point where you're scared or you're fearful that something big or terrible is going to happen, it is in that moment where you decide, I'm staying or I'm going. And if you keep with that, that truly is that breaking moment where the pattern is switching. It's switching within you,
Right.
and you have delegated out, into the universe, into those people that you love, that this works and I'm willing to stick
Yes.
with and through that discomfort, and that shift will happen, and it is temporary, but then the change
So
happens.
it does. And I'm so glad you just said that, because one of the keys, in my opinion, to making a significant, lasting change of this type, having a mentor that is there with you, that is going to keep saying, don't worry, keep on the path. It's coming. Make this small change. Remember, you're focusing on yourself first so you can help others put their mask on. They will come with you. You know, having that person with you, in my opinion, is one of the key indicators of whether it will be successful and long lasting or not.
Yeah.
And even if someone has tried something in the past, I'm going to call it on their own. Maybe they watched a video series or they got a book and they were attempting to do it on their own and they failed. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. Do it with someone there beside you that's going to make sure that they will get you through the obstacles and challenges you may face while you're doing it.
Yes.
So I'm
And
glad you brought that up.
thank you. And likewise. And I think it's important to note, I I love personal development. I have spent hours and hours and hours and the dollar signs to match.
Yes.
there is something to be said about someone else looking at you and offering just to stand there as the mirror, as the support, but also as a reflection of where you're truly wanting to go to. And just very quickly back to let the partner or the person that might be pulling away quickly. I would want to put this across the table to anyone listening to this. I personally also would consult you on that and offer you suggestions on how to integrate and bring them into it a little bit more, because it could be as simple as they're feeling distant because now you have someone to talk to and they are feeling out of the circle. They're feeling out of the loop.
Right.
That's where the communication and
Right.
bringing them in and, and consulting them on your journey so that they know where you're at. If you're on your own reading a book, I'm not saying that can't help, but it doesn't give you sort of the flip
Correct.
side, right? And it doesn't talk back to you. It doesn't sort of give you their
That's right.
opinion.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And I do, I imagine because I have done research on the work that you do and the services you provide, and I can tell that you place a very high value on significant relationships, both at work and personally. And so I'm sure that that's part of the overall plan. Whereas you just mentioned now, you're giving verbal, direct, regular updates of, wow, I'm working on this and this is so cool. So you're communicating with them so they feel included. But I'm sure you also give some advice on how they can make subtle changes in how they're perceiving and interacting with those people. So it's even also something that's naturally part of being that leader that you want to
Mhm.
be in
Yes.
life, right? I'm sure that's all intertwined.
Yeah. And
So I want to jump back because go
yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
Nope. You go, Bridget. Jump back.
Okay. I want to jump back too, because I sort of diverted you. You mentioned that when you start changing
Mhm.
and you start leading yourself and you're showing up with a different energy in a different manner, your communication is more on point, you're listening at a higher level, and people around you start changing with you. That's
Yes.
the majority of people, especially in a work environment. Most people in today's work environments are so hungry for a leader like what we just described, right? They're so hungry for it. So they're like, wow, and they're attracted to it and they come along with you on the journey.
Yes.
Can you share more about that and maybe even some steps someone could take to start making that change?
Yeah, absolutely. Leaders go first, and you're 100% correct. In the workplace, there's a new dynamic, and you touched on COVID before. There has been a humongous shift in the workforce and people's desire to work and perform in a certain way. And,
Right.
this happened to me. So, you get dragged down and you're in autopilot and all the things and you almost get down to everybody else's level. But when you show up the next day and you are radiating with life and you take a different
Yes.
approach with people, take a curious approach with people, you
Yes.
see right away the ones that want to go with you, they'll be like, take me, like, and they can feel it.
Y- Right.
And
Yes, they can.
it yeah, it lightens everything up and you feel amazing. And the people around you, like your team, your colleagues, your family, it just starts to increase, like the awareness, the vibration, the feelings, it all goes with you. So that age old term, who's meant to be with you will follow, they'll pick up on it all.
Yes, they will.
100%.
They absolutely
And
will.
yep, I have seen this. I've seen, women coming in and she's got a team of people, like a brick and mortar business, and they're on their phones, they're in the doom scroll, and it
Yes.
almost is like a disease. It sort of spreads like a virus, then everybody is doing that, right? in this work, she had the power to say, the phones are for here in this space at this time of day. And she said within 1 week, they were collaborating with each other, they were speaking, they were lunching together, and everybody
Right.
had a smile on their face. And it went from this doom and gloom to everybody loves their job, everybody's empowering everyone else to do a wonderful job. That is the power.
Yeah.
So I think if
It
you
is
want,
amazing.
it truly is, and it's not fluff. It's not fake news. It is a reality, and I think for anyone who's wondering, just practice. Try it for 1 day and raise yourself up and act at a new level of you, the one that you truly want to be. And it's not easy at first. You have to reestablish yourself and your pattern and your beliefs, but just try it for 1 day. I encourage you and see what happens.
I think that is a great idea. And to don't overplan, don't overthink, don't overanalyze, simply be, you know what? Tomorrow, I'm showing up as my ideal vision of myself. And I would include everything. If you're a lady, you're going to do your face the way you want it, however that might be. Pick your outfit out the night before. Wear something other than black, or you can decide if you're in, or if you're always wearing khaki, wear something other than khaki, and just show up. Not just, to me, that's almost like a football player getting ready to go on the field. They get in everything. You know that they're doing mindset work the whole time they get dressed. And then you show up with just a whole different air, and it impacts your self-perception and your mental state. So that energy is going to come through.
Of
I
course.
just, I love that idea.
And it's
Anyone
a
can
big,
do this tomorrow.
yeah,
In fact, if you're hearing this in the morning, when it's over, stop, restart the day, and just, show up in that different way right now.
yes.
And then
And I
stack
heard
the wins. Just stack day after
that's
day
right.
after day.
It's baby steps. It's baby steps, and you're learning and you're practicing. And there's a beautiful quote. So I think it's a perfect time. You can choose to be someone different than you were 5 minutes ago. You can do that right now. So you can start.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yes, you can start right now.
I love that.
It's
One
baby
of my
steps.
old mentors would say, Bridget, it doesn't matter what you love. I can hear her in the voice in my head when I say that. And yet, how powerful is that? You literally can decide right now, and you can show up in a different energy in 5 minutes.
You can. And, when's the last time somebody said that to you? This is this is the world that we're kind of stuck in, that it is what it is pattern. And when you and I show up and say, well,
Right.
no, it doesn't really need to be is what it is. You can make it what it is. You have that power within you. And it's really just about stepping into your power.
How do you feel about working from home versus going in the office? Do you think that this plays a role in what we're discussing in any way?
I think it can. I think that the work from home generation has a different level of challenges to face today. Number one, you're not stepping out of, your four walls. You're not exercising your social skills in the same way. You're not getting ready for the day that you may have, gotten dressed up and put on a suit and your hair and your cosmetic if you wear. And we're sliding
Right.
into this super comfy lifestyle, which I like that. And there's a time and a place for everything. But the women that have been challenged the most are truly missing a key component of the social, the get ready. It's the confidence of feeling good and presenting yourself in a certain way. So,
Right.
yeah. I mean, does that answer your question? Is that what you're sort of
It
thinking?
does. It does.
Yeah. Hmm.
And with clients I've been working with, similar to what I mentioned about, like, if you find yourself in a rut of wearing black all the time, wear something different tomorrow. If you wear beige and khaki, wear something different. Like, shake it up from whatever you're currently doing. So with clients, if they're truly struggling with getting out of the hamster wheel, I ask, I will say, all right, if you're working at home next week, guess what? You're going in the office every day and you're going to be there by 8:30. Not that I tell them in that bossy manner, but I'm not going to go through the whole, well, sometimes I do. And if they're currently working at the office, I'm like, okay, guess what? You're going to work from home next week. Let's
Mhm.
allow the staff to have some breathing room and time and whatever. So I usually like to see what element can we change based on what they're currently doing to shake up their daily routine. It all
Yeah.
ties into what you were saying of, are you missing out on some of the discipline and structure that happens with either,
Yeah.
and then figure where to go from there.
Yeah. And I love
Melissa,
that you
you mentioned, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
I just love that you mentioned that you'd flipped it too. Like if you're glued to your office, and I see this a lot, especially with
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, you're
Hmm.
glued there to the point of fault, right? And it's almost like a
Correct.
punishment for yourself and others. So I love that you brought that up.
And others. Yes. Yes. There are
Mhm.
so often times where staff, and you know this, they're put in an awkward position. If the boss, so to speak, is not leaving, they sometimes feel as if they can't leave, and that creates awkwardness. And they also sometimes will not develop or be as creative. It limits their creativity and it can limit their ownership and authorship of their role.
Yes.
So if you are stuck to the office, to use your phrase, get out. Like go away for a week.
Exactly.
Let everyone miss you. Okay? Like let them miss you.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
You
Yes.
mentioned something, Melissa, that I found very compelling. So we're going way back to when you first started sharing. And you said that you'll do an analysis with your clients and you will find the area where they want to see dramatic change, where they want to have growth, and you'll start there. So we know one of the rules of war is go where you're strong and make it stronger. And that approach, I just want to ask because to me, that almost seems a little bit counter to that because you're kind of going in where there's a defined, I'm going to say weakness
Hmm.
or area for improvement, and you're starting there. And I'm
Yeah.
really intrigued by that. Could you? I want to hear more about what you're doing with that.
So I work within two processes to dive into the weakness, but in a way that it actually shows your brilliance. So those weaknesses or
Ooh,
those traumas or those past pains or the BS, they all
right.
have a glimmer of your brilliance that is meant to shine brighter than the dark. So by going into that, we're not suppressing you down, but we're actually stripping it out and pulling away what isn't true to what the truth of the story is. And if there's trauma, if there is past grief regressions, if there's, childhood issues that are driving the thought process forward, somewhere in there shines your brilliance and your purpose and your legacy building on this earth. So by working through, we'll say weakness or challenges first, we almost shed away the pounds, the extra weight that have been dragging around our ankles for decades. And then we allow that brightness to shine through. We're all brilliant in our own way, Bridget, as you know. So
Hmm.
why not jump in and dismantle the untruths first and rewrite those stories in a way that makes you powerful? Does that answer your question?
Melissa, that is so powerful. You're getting a podcast award. You're the first person that made me tear up. That is the best detailed description of how to navigate focusing on that area of neglect or trauma or any of those things that I have heard must be incredibly cathartic for your clients. They probably feel like dancing through the streets like the end of the 40-year-old virgin, in a white outfit with ribbon twirls. They probably went dancing to the age of Aquarius. Like, you must be part of and witness to significant moments of freedom and release with people.
And you're making me tear up as well, because when you see that moment where the weight that they've been carrying just drop to the floor, and they kind of just step back and go, I had no idea what I was carrying. You can see it in their eyes. It's almost like the whites of their eyes get brighter, and they just feel like grateful to finally have someone be able to extract that out of them. The transformation from that point is tremendous. And I think the approach with going into the dark first is the
Mhm.
light for the true transformation and the lasting transformation. I don't want you to be better for 90 days. I want you to live the life of your dreams. I want your marriage to be the most beautiful relationship you've ever dreamed of. And it is in these dark
Right.
moments that that transformation sets fire.
That is remarkable. So that just sounds like an amazing process for people to go through. And as you were saying that, I was thinking that every change we make that is significant has a ripple effect. So if you address the dark spot first, all of your natural strengths and ability will all be also loosened up from any anchors, and they will all naturally rise. It will be a rising tide that is going to lift all the boats. So if anyone is concerned about that, I believe they do not need to be concerned. So I love the phrase of building a legacy with zero regrets. Is there any other fine point you would like to put on that? And then I have a special round robin conversation I want to have with you that I didn't tell you about. So, but anything else you'd like to say about building the legacy and a life, leading a life with zero regret?
Yes, um, I do. And the zero regrets is a huge thing for me. And if you're a mom, I can almost guarantee today, right now, there's someone on here that goes to bed every night and goes, I blew it. I lost it. I lost my cool, swore in front of the kids. They saw me with road rage. It's whatever. The point is, when we live knowing with a knowing that every minute we are reflecting to our kids how to be in life. And when we know this and we operate in an awareness that we want better for them, and I am rising for
Yes.
when you live 90% of your life and you have risen up out of the ashes and you have dropped the stories and you are the woman you're intended to be here to be, there's no such thing as a regret anymore. May you have a faux pas? Sure. But are you deeply going to regret that? No. So I'm
No.
talking about the movement of the awareness of the women to know right here, right now, you are building your legacy. And it's not about what you're leaving at the end, it's about who you are being today. And are you proud of that moment? And that's what I believe in zero regrets. Life is short to carry these moments to regret.
Right. I think that's so powerful. So I want to hit you with something you were not expecting. And actually, you inspired me to do this while we were talking. So, in people with trauma, and I'll ask if you agree. I agree. There's people listening to this right now that they're like, that sounds great for everyone else. However, my fill in the blank, pain, trauma, loss, tragedy is different. And that might work for others, but it won't work for me.
Mhm.
May I round robin you with a variety of traumas or issues so that you can just nod your head or say, yes, yes. And if I say one that you're like, oh no, Bridget, I couldn't help somebody with that. That's the worst. No. Okay, so is that okay?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's see. They really screwed up their taxes and their business licenses, and they've been dealing with it for years, and it's not fixed yet.
Easy. That shame and guilt, we can work on that.
They got divorced with someone and they regret it.
Easy. We
They
can
stayed
let go.
married to someone and they regret it.
Yes.
They've had a tragic loss, unexpected tragic loss of a close family member, either of any kind, parent, significant other, child, a tragic loss.
Get moving on it right
They
away.
they got a DUI.
Yes.
They got 2 DUIs. They got fired
Yes.
from a 25-year career that they thought would be their retirement.
100.
They lost all their money. They lost all their money in a business endeavor that took them down.
Yes.
They never had children, and now they regret it.
Yes.
They never went to college, and they regret it. They
Absolutely.
see themselves as less than, right. They were in a horrible car accident that unfortunately caused lasting harm to another
Yes.
innocent person.
Absolutely.
They inadvertently or advertently, I don't know what the opposite of that is, committed a crime.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. They have adult children that, for a truly unknown reason, are estranged from them now.
Mm-hmm. It's never too late.
They have estranged children where there was good reason for it because they were not operating in their best mode as a parent.
Yes.
Okay. They went through empty nest syndrome and realized they let their marriage go and they want it back. Yeah. Okay. So I feel like I covered a lot there.
It was a lot. You did very well.
Right. So my point is it doesn't matter. They inherited a beautiful inheritance, trust fund, and they've lost it all. Doesn't
Yes.
matter,
No,
right?
doesn't.
All of it you can 5 minutes from right now, you can choose to be a different version of yourself.
Yes. Absolutely.
So I'm a big believer, and I know you are as well, in the power of affirmations and pouring into yourself. Could each of us share a favorite affirmation, one that we hold dear to ourselves? So what is a favorite affirmation that you would share that people could adopt from you and start saying to themselves every day?
Absolutely. And I believe in mirror affirmations as well. So you are
Yes.
contacting
Yes.
your own eyes in the mirror.
Mhm.
And today, with gratitude, we accept the past and we open our mind into our future self. And we are growing. We are learning every moment. May we release everything that is holding us back so that we can step into our most beautiful power right here, right now. I love you.
Oh, that's phenomenal, and I will make sure that that transcript is in the description, and I will post that quote everywhere. Beautiful affirmation from Melissa Barnes.
Thank you.
And I am going to share one that was given to me by Tony DeCello. He is one of my mentors, has been for over 20 years, very well known in the real estate coaching world. And he said to me, Bridget, every day in the morning, just say, I move through the day with ease and elegance. So that is one of my life philosophies that I have said to myself every day for now. It's going on 24 years. I move through the
Well,
day with ease and elegance. I added on, and I make people smile wherever I go. Those are 2 gifts, one from Melissa, one from me. Thank you so much for being our guest. I'm going to have all of your contact information. And Melissa, I did not share a lot about your credentials and everything that you do as a leadership and legacy mentor. I just want to share you have 12-week programs that focus on significant personal relationships, You have a book that's out there that I can't wait to read. I'm sorry I didn't get to read it before we met today. Everyone, I was so excited to talk to Melissa. I didn't even want to wait. And you have so much to offer, in particular, high performing women that are CEOs in a position of leadership and entrepreneurs and also juggling a family. Now, just remember, all my homemakers out there, you are a CEO and you are an executive. I actually have someone I'm gonna refer to you, Melissa, that is an amazing homemaker in Tennessee. So, I want you will be able to reach out to Melissa. What is your favorite platform or method for people to connect with you?
I think that if you want to connect with a one on one call, you should go through the website. That's sort of the best way to get
Perfect.
in. You can find me on all the
Can you
socials
say your
as well.
website? Because, some people are just listening, so could you say your website?
So it's Melissa Barnes Coaching dot VIP.
Mhm. Well, Melissa, I really truly hope that you will come back again and be a guest on the Inner Estate in the future because I feel as if we just scratched the surface of what we could discuss. Thank you so much for being our guest. Those of you listening, I hope you'll come and join me again for the next episode of the Inner Estate. Make sure you subscribe, like, follow, whatever the things are, you know what to do. And thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Bridget.